How are you guys doing tonight? I'm Nini FC, this is Blue Lions TV, and welcome to the player ratings video after our 2-0 Eden Hazard masterclass win against West Ham. Before I get into anything though, today's video was brought to you by the One Football app. You guys, thank you to everyone that's been supporting me by downloading the app. It really helps, and of course, you do get a fantastic app for yourselves. It's the convenience. You're able to get all the information you need tailored around clubs or players of your choice. It's simple, it's efficient, it's easy. It really does add to the experience in my opinion, just due to how easy it is to get the information and stats that you need. The amount of times that I use it to get fixture list news, player injury news, etc, etc. It's all there, it's a swipe away, but getting straight into things, starting with Kepa in goal. And Kepa was on point for tonight. Real talk, he was, honestly. Some great shot stopping ability, and I knew that that was one aspect of his game that fans would like, just how acrobatic his style is. He's making that important save. He's making those decisive saves, and that's the type of stuff that you do want to see in a young, promising goalkeeper, and Kepa's only going to get better. But I really do feel like he is a fantastic signing, and it was great business in the end. I'm going to be giving him a score of 7 out of 10. Moving on to Azpi at right back, and for me, this was one of Azpi's best offensive games this season. And it does make a bit of sense, and I think that it's Mr. Callum Hudson-Odoi that's really helping Azpi recently. And think about it like this, let's say Pedro or Willian are playing on the right hand side. Most times they have the ball, they're in the half space, they're deeper, meaning that Azpi is isolated out wide where he has to have more responsibility on the ball. But now that Hudson-Odoi is in front of him, it means that Azpi plays more confidently, and we're seeing him push forward a lot more. And I think basically to unlock Azpi, you need to have good support around him offensively and defensively. I'm going to be scoring Azpi a 7.5 out of 10. Now moving on to Rudiger, and I can't lie, that one moment in the game that got me fully gassed, that I had to tweet Rudiger. I had to, he's shouting at the team, he's saying, everyone focus, don't mess this up. You can see the passion, the intensity, and I like the guy. Of course, I've got my critiques on him, and I do feel like people need to distinguish between critique and hate. I feel like Rudiger can be critiques, but not today, because he did what he had to do. I thought positionally he was decent, maybe one or two small things, but it doesn't detract from his overall game. I thought that he was very combative in the air. He really stopped Arnautovic doing anything, and honestly, it was a very good performance from him. I'm going to be scoring him a 7 out of 10. Moving on to David Luiz, and to be honest, his performance was quite similar to Rudiger's. You get that constant, classy performance from David Luiz, and when you play this style of football, David Luiz really helps things a lot more, because when the whole game is about keeping possession of the ball, Luiz is probably the best defender in the world at what he does. I'm sorry, no defender is better at what Luiz does. People might say Marquinhos. No, Marquinhos does not attempt the amount of balls that Luiz does. I feel like this guy is underrated. I wish he was appreciated a bit more. Performances like this where he's solid and you expect him to play well, no one really talks about him. I'm going to be scoring Luiz a 7 out of 10. Now, moving on to our best defender tonight. That goes to Emerson, and my God, this guy's getting better and better. And we've all seen what he was doing at Roma, and it's looking like he's back at that form right now. The way he's just improved that left-hand side, the ability, how he's able to beat the press, how he's able to use the ball as well. The runs he makes in behind, the guy's helped unlock Eden Hazard even more. Incredible player. And defensively is where this guy is getting better and better. That great interception, that game-changing one he made in the game today. How many times was he winning balls, winning his 50-50s, getting tight, pressing West Ham? Great performance. And I feel like I'm constantly saying that Emerson's had his best game, and it's a real testament to just how hard the players worked to get back into Sarri's favour. I'm going to be scoring Emerson an 8 out of 10. Now, moving on to Jorginho, and for me, another classy performer. When we play this style of football, how we're supposed to, don't forget that, we're supposed to be playing like this. You see and understand why he was signed. The amount of attacks he started from nothing, It's just, you can't win the ball from him in his half. He just reads the game perfectly. He moves the ball so quickly as well. How many times was he just starting attacks by making simple passes out wide, first time ones? And with players like him, it looks like they're playing a very simple, easy game. But you have to understand, when you watch football at this level, the easier and more effortless a player makes it, it just goes to prove just how much of a genius the player is. I'm going to be scoring Jorginho a 7 out of 10. Moving on to Kante, and this guy just starts attacks for free. Now, just cast your minds back to the game. Think of all the times that Kante won interceptions. Press his man to cause a mistake from a West Ham defender. How many times did he win that interception as well? Starting attacks from nothing, you guys, because when he wins the ball, he moves it on quickly. And when we were supposed to be running back in our own half, Kante's won the ball for us, stopping us from having to revert back into our own half, and we're able to then put more pressure on our opponents. This is why Sarri was always right in regards to how he's using Kante, and I'm hoping now no one's ever going to talk about Kante being a DM. I'm going to be scoring Kante a 7.5 out of 10. Now, wow, moving on to Ruben, and I'm running out of words, I'm running out of praise. Of course, one or two misplaced passes, but you could see the thought and ideas behind them. But he's just playing with that confidence from the fact that he knows he's a special player. And the way he's helped elevate the team too. I told you guys from the start, him and Emerson, that was all this team needed. We're seeing so much benefit from that. Ruben with his incredible elegant style, how he uses the ball, how he reads the game as well, the movement in behind, the runs he went on as well. And I just really appreciate what we're seeing from the player. I mean, wow, Declan Rice, it was finished tonight, you guys. I can't see this guy in another England national team squad anytime soon. It was just levels. It was levels. And it just goes to show you why this club have always rated Ruben and why so many people behind the scenes have vouched for this guy for so long, because he always has been the real deal. I'm going to be scoring Ruben an 8.5 out of 10. Now moving on to the one and only, one of the greatest Chelsea players ever, Eden Hazard. Masterclass, typical Hazard performance, joy to watch. This is why football is what it is. You pay money to see guys like this playing live, and I'm telling you guys, when you see him play live, he's even better. And I kind of regret that I didn't go to this game. But the only thing that stopped Hazard from getting a 10 out of 10 was not getting the hat-trick, because it was complete, his performance. Wow. I'm going to be scoring Hazard a 9.5 out of 10. Moving on to Hudson-Odoi. And as I was saying in the match review, this was his most mature performance in a Chelsea shirt. It really was. Defensively, best ever performance for us. And it's the type of performance where his teammates will respect him even more, because it shows that Hudson-Odoi understands what it means to play for the team. He understands how to sacrifice. The amount of times he stuck to his duties. And even though he wasn't as magical on the ball as he normally is, in football it's not always going to be like that. Let's be serious. You can't play 10 out of 10 week in, week out. And when you can't light up the pitch with your feet, it comes down to how you use your brain, how you think, your work rate, your application on top of that. And Hudson-Odoi showed that in abundance today. I'm going to be scoring Hudson-Odoi a 7 out of 10. Moving on to Higuain, and I'm sorry, another performance where I feel for my guy. I do, because I'm not seeing anything bad from him. That would be the difference. If he was awful, if he was really misplacing every single touch, the ball was bouncing off him, he wasn't really moving in the final third, and he was like hiding. And I know what hiding is. You know, I've seen guys like Morata and Torres. I've seen what it means for strikers to hide and not take responsibility. But Higuain's doing that, and lucky, you know, West Ham were annoying, you know. Some of the players making these last-ditch tackles for no reason. I honestly feel now it's a matter of time. It really is. One thing we have to remember and consider is the fact that this lineup we've seen hasn't played consistently. They haven't played that many games together. And that is quite scary and exciting in the sense that there's a higher level this squad can reach. And I think that Higuain could be the icing on the cake. Let's remember, he came during the midway point of the season. But I think that he's a good player. I do. I'm going to give Higuain a score of 7 out of 10. And to end things with the manager, Mr. Sarri Ball himself, I think it's getting to the point now where maybe some people have to reconsider the thoughts they had on Sarri. Throughout this season, I've been trying to paint a picture of why it was never simple for him in the first place, why he wasn't as bad as what people made it out to be, why a lot of the times we never saw the lineups we wanted to due to things like injuries or things happening behind the scenes. It was going to take time and patience. It's sad that no one's been supporting him over this time, but credit to Sarri, respect to you Sarri, you stood by your words, you knew what was going to happen over time, you didn't panic. Most weaker people would have panicked and done something completely different, especially when in the social media world, everyone has their opinion and it's very visible and easy to gauge the reactions of people, but Sarri knew and believed in what he had to do, and we're seeing it now. The two performances, yes, I know the teams he played against aren't the best teams in the world, but this was complete. This is everything that we've been needing to see in a Sarri ball system. It's happening, you guys. I'm going to be giving Sarri a score of 8.5 out of 10, and that's going to bring an end for today's player ratings video. I was really hoping that I could score Hazard a 10 out of 10, but I feel like a 10 out of 10 should be extremely rare. I thought that it was close to perfect, that's why I scored him a 9.5 out of 10. But not one player scored under a 7 today, because that was how good the team performance was. Honestly, I'm excited for the upcoming games. I wish this season was going to last a bit longer, but thank God we're still in Europe. There's still a few more games to play. You guys, thank you for watching today's videos. Thank you for all the support recently. It's meant a lot to me. I'm Nini FC. This is Blue Lions TV. This is why I've always believed in the process.